What's up guys, Axis here, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on my Axis intro that I did less than a week ago. It's just a simple typography style that you should really be able to do with only a couple of months of experience in After Effects. Let's just see what we're going to be creating. So as you can see, it was pretty simple, but when you put it all together, it's actually quite complex. And it looks relatively difficult, but it's really not that difficult when you just break it down into a few steps. So before we get into this, I'm just going to say that I'm going to be giving away my motion and my model pack to anybody who has the best suggestion for the next tutorial. This can be anything design related, anything motion related. It can be a model, it can be anything. Remember to give me whoever created this so I can just give them credit and I can give you credit. So yeah, so whoever comes up with a suggestion I like the most, I'll give you a free copy of both of those within the next couple of weeks. So first off, we're just going to create a new composition. So Control N, I'm going to do 1280 by 720, 30 FPS. I'm going to go 6 seconds, and then we're going to create a black solid with Control Y. I'm going to call this background. And then we're going to do Control Alt Y for our adjustment layer. I'm going to call CC. First off, we're going to get a logo in. I'm just going to create a piece of text. I'm going to use an A. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of center this here. And we're going to get the anchor point with the pan behind anchor point. I'm going to try and bring this roughly into the middle. Press V again to go back to our move tool. And then I'm going to scale this down slightly. So to open up that tab, you press S. I put this below my adjustment layer, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on P for position, click the keyframe, and then go a second in with the keyframe. And then I'm going to drag this up on the Y axis. And what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to select both these keyframes, do F9. And as you can see, that's going to make it easy ease. It's going to change the keyframe. And then we're going to click on the graph editor. And if you don't have this speed editor up, what you do is you do right click and you do edit speed value. It might be on one of these three. Speed value is the one we want. So since we've done easy ease, we have these graph options. But if you want to, you can change these within here at the bottom. So I'm just going to drag this in. And then I'm going to drag this one over here so we have a really quick animation and it slows down. So that actually looks quite nice already. So that's just 1 second of keyframes of animation there. And then if we turn on the motion blur on both tabs, if you don't have this tab open, toggle switches / modes and F4 does the same thing. And we want motion blur and switch on it for the whole composition. And then what we're going to want to do is I want to add some color correction and some stocks just to see how this looks. So first off, we're going to get something from my motion pack. So as you can see, when you come in here, we've got some new stocks. We've got where is it? Typography. And then in the ink drops, I'm going to use this one here. And then what I'm going to do is, in fact, no, I need to drag it into here. You're not seeing a part of this because it's on my other monitor. But there we go, I've dragged it in. I'm going to do right click screen so we get the whole backgrounds in. And then what we can do is we can go into tint. In the effects and presets, I just drag this window in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set this to whatever color you want. So like that. If you want, you can use something a bit more complex, like Video Copilot's what's it called? Color Vibrance. This is actually a free plugin that you can get off their blog, so just look up VC Color Vibrance. I'm not going to use it because for some reason it likes to crash my new After Effects, so don't want to use that. So as you can see, it's really nice. and if we add a color correction, it's going to look even better. And I'm even going to walk you through just adding the color correction as well. So if we go into the root of this and we go into color corrections, typography, we've got all these color corrections. I'm just going to open a new window. I'm going to go into my computer, and where is it? In fact, no, go into, in fact, I think it's in Program Files 86, Looks Builder. In Mac, this will be in Application Support, I think. But yeah, just look up how to find it if you can't find it from that. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to drag this into here, just the folder. Continue. And then it should copy over. And now when we go into our color correction, we can go and get this plugin called Looks. This is a paid plugin, so make sure you either have this plugin or you're willing to create like a plugin, use it, not a plugin, but like color correction through After Effects. So if I go into the typography section, we have all these different color corrections. They're quite light color corrections, but they look really nice. So I like bright typography in the first one. I'm gonna go with this one. So as you can see, it's added a bit of diffusion to the logo, just a bit more atmosphere to it. And then within a couple of seconds, maybe 1 second, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this out. So I'm going to click the keyframe here, I'm going to go about a second through. As you can see, the animation is really boring, so we're going to go easy ease again, graph editor, and I'm going to do the same kind of animation I did before, scale this in, and then just make a massive ramp basically. In fact, I think it's too slow. I want it to go a bit faster. So if you hold, I think, yeah, holding shift makes it just sliding normally. So at this point we're going to want to add a transition. I've got a couple in my motion pack in the typography section. So if you go into here, typography and transitions, we've got a couple simple ones here. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be creating one because it's a really simple thing to do, so we're not going to lose much time by doing it. And actually I might just go ahead and, what was I going to look for? Oh yeah, Google Color Palette. Color. So if we look up that, what we can find is a bunch of different hexes that you can use. And this is just really easy to get some nice bright colors. So let's see, I kind of want to go with like a purpley like magenta color or something. I'm gonna go for something, I'm gonna go like this. Okay, and as you can see, when you click on the color, it already highlights the hex. The hex is down here. If you have the RGB, what you do is, this is red, green and blue, so you just enter the values here. And then we're going to click OK. I'm going to call this transition. Not with the hashtag, that was not on purpose. I don't know if I like that color anymore, but I guess I'm just going to use it. Going to drag this all the way back. And then we can click MM. No, not that. To open up the mask properties. I'm going to go all the way to when this is scaled down, double click on this, drag this out. By the way, if you don't have these options, it's here, it's called the toggle mask visibility. And then what we're going to do is again F9, and we are going to go ahead and don't know how this is going to look. Right, doesn't look that good, but I'll see how it looks with that. Yeah, I think it's too slow. If we click on U, it will bring up the keyframes. I just think the animation is too slow. And then what we can do is we can offset this slightly by doing a duplicate and dragging forwards. And then what we can do is we can go and change the color. In fact, no, change the color here. Have one in front of it. We'll do something that kind of goes with it, so we'll do a purple. Go into the properties, which is Control Shift and Y. That just makes it a bit more interesting. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start making our text. So I'm just going to use some relatively simple letters so it'll be easier to create. Oh yeah, I don't have it. If you go on Google, I think it's called Mission Gothic. This is the font. Is it? Oh yeah, it is. So what we can do now is we can either you can pay whatever you want for this. So I'm going to be kind of scummy and pay 0. And then we're just going to save this. And then what we can do is we can go into our just a random folder and go into what was the one that was, oh yeah, I didn't create it on this computer. Let's just call it font. Drag this all out, and then what we're going to do is we're going to delete this, select all this, right click, and then install. Now this will install all the fonts. And in some cases you might have to restart After Effects for this, but I think in CC or CC 2015, either one of the two, you can just update the library automatically. So make sure you've got your text selected, and there we go. And now I'm going to try and center this roughly. So there we go. And as you can see, these are really simple letters. I'm going to go with bold. So if you installed all the files, you'll get all these different styles. And basically the bold one should be easiest to do this effect on. So now we're going to start, basically what you do for this style is you find like how many sections will be in each piece of lettering. So as you can see in T we've got 1, 2, in U we've got probably 3, and then in T we're going to have 2. So what we're going to do, create shapes from text. We can delete this now, and then we're going to get the contents, and we're going to create 3 duplicates of this. And in the first one we're going to just have T, second one just going to have U, and the last one we're just going to have T. Not a very complex name at all, so yeah, just kind of improvise if you've got a more complex shape to work with. But I'm just going to hide both these right now. If you do Control and click on that arrow, we'll get the path. So we click on the path, and then what we're going to do is we're going to delete some of the paths here. So now we've only got this one box at the top. So in fact, since we've got 2 parts, what we do is, I'm just going to name these just so you guys know what I'm doing. Maybe I can call it T1, U, and T2. Now since we've got 2 parts, we're going to create 2 duplicates. I'm going to hide the second duplicate, control click on that again, and I'm going to delete these 2 paths here. Now we've only got this. Now to create the other path, I'm going to hide this and show the newest path. Control click on this again to show the path, and that should be it. I'm going to, oh, does that not work? And now we've only got this rectangle at the bottom. So what we can actually do is we could just duplicate this for the last one as well. So if we show both the T's, so the first T and the last T, I'm just going to duplicate this, drag it up, and then I'm going to hold shift and drag this right along. And there we go. That's roughly in place, and then just delete the original T. I'm going to move these rectangles up because as you can see there's a slight gap in there. If I hide the color correction, it's a lot easier to see. So I'm going to move the bottom rectangle up and do this again. So as you can see now that gap is closed. Now we can add the U. Now the U has 3 parts, and it's going to be a lot more difficult to do because it's got a curve in it. So if we do 3, hide first 2, and control click on the path, and we'll just start with the top. If you hold shift, then it will select. Oh, shift doesn't work. Okay, well let's just do the bottom half, and then so it doesn't like that. There we go. And what we can do here is we can either just make this completely flat, but I'm not going to bother because I think I quite like the look when it kind of has a little curve at the bottom. It kind of looks like it's conjoining. Looks quite nice. So I'm going to hide this now, and then I'm going to do the bottom. So for some reason, oh, there we go. So delete the bottom parts. And then I'm just going to show this bottom one to see what is if anything is wrong. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong. It looks quite good. And then we're going to do the last part, which is the part here. So I'm just going to hide the other U's. Wait a second. Oh yeah, it's quite confusing. This U here, U3, it's automatically named it. Do control click again, path, and delete these, and there we go. That's it. So now we can start doing the typography part. So what we're going to do is we're going to click off this, click on the rectangle tool, and I'm just going to do stroke to 0, and I'm going to do that, click off, do that again. Make sure these are creating separate shapes, otherwise it's not going to work. So now we've created a really bad T, so we're going to drag this down to T. And as you can see, what one corresponds with each one. So we've got the top, can't spell, got top, and we've got the bottom. So if we go and look at this, we've got the bottom here, so we put the bottom here, and we put the top over T1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the toggle switches and modes. I'm going to save this as well, just in case anything crashes. What we're going to do is we're going to go into alpha mats. Yeah, that's it. Alpha mat. So make sure you do this on your text layer. So basically what this does is it acts as a mat. So if we take this off, so that's acting like a mask. So what we can do now is we can keyframe the position. So as I did it just as this was coming in because I thought it looked quite good, which is what I'm going to do here, I think. So position, I'm going to drag this out, and then I'm going to drag this one off to the left. And then we're going to go and do a keyframe thingy again. In fact, that's a bit too quick actually. I'll make it, let's maybe do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'll do 15 frames, so half a second in this case. And then if we add motion blur, this might not work. Yeah, it does work actually. So just do it on the matte layer. And then we can do this onto the second one as well. And what I'm going to have to this happening is from this point I'm going to go into this position, mark the position, drag this out a couple frames, we can fix this later, and then drag this out to the top, easy ease, and then we're going to go to the graph editor again. I actually do a different kind of keyframe here. So as you can see, it looks like it's kind of drawing out, which I quite like actually. So if I just click off the graph editor, and then I'm going to turn on the motion blur. Yeah, I really like that. It's really nice. So now, just as this is almost ending, we're going to start on the U. So again, we're going to click off, we're going to get the rectangle tool, and we're going to draw a really bad U. I'll duplicate this and just drag this over. And then I'm going to click off, go to the rectangle tool, and I'm going to drag this out again. So we've got the U. So now what we can just try and name these. So this is the U on the left. Let's try and find the left one. Left, bottom, and right. So this one is the right. I've got my directions mixed up. That's terrible. There we go. Sorry about that. I obviously didn't go to primary school. Bottom. That's the bottom. And now what we can do is I'm just going to select these. In fact, no, the text layers actually. What have I done? God. Right. So that. Okay. So that is. Oh God. So what have I done? I think I maybe had my directions correct. So this is the left, and this one is above it, which is the wrong one, which is the right. Which one is this? It's bottom. That's correct. This one's the left. Okay, so this one's the left, this one should be here, and this one should be up here. There we go. So now if I just select all these and go into alpha matte, I think what is wrong is that I haven't made the bottom part large enough to cover up all this. In fact, there we go. So now we can start keyframing this. What I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to start it up and then bring it down. So we can just keyframe this, drag this out a few frames, and then drag this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do 10 frames. Easy ease. Drag this in a bit, and then make this ramp bigger. Oh God, that is too quick. Okay, that's just the first part of it, and now we can do the other part, which is this. So position, go a few frames in. And then we'll just have this off to this side. Easy ease. These are all going really quick. I think I'm gonna slow this down a bit. And at this point I think I'm gonna start this one here, and I'm gonna have it coming from the top. Nope, that's not the right one. Always make sure it's the mat you're using. So we have this coming from here, and then just wash, rinse, repeat. There we go. So now what we can do is we can add all the, what do you call them? All the motion blur. Because who doesn't like blur? That's actually looking quite good. Didn't expect this to come out well. Not gonna lie. So I could just copy the T to save time, which I think that's what I'm gonna do. T. There we go. Duplicate this. Oh yeah, okay. And I'm gonna drag this to the top, and I'm gonna drag the T over here. Oh yeah, we are gonna have a lot of problems though with this. We're gonna have to delete the keyframes and stuff, because obviously there's already keyframes. In fact, there's no point in just fixing that. We'll just start from scratch. Right, so let's just create the T, because it's probably the simplest letter to do, other than I. There we go. So this one is the bottom. Just gonna call it bottom too, just to avoid any confusion. Top, top, bottom, bottom. Select both of them. Select both text layers. Off a mat. Select these two. Motion blur. And then we're gonna go position. Top. I think I'm gonna make this go this way. So top, I think I'm gonna make it come in from the right, and then this one I'm gonna make come in from the bottom. Oh god, what have I done? Bottom, there we go. Already looks pretty good, to be honest, but I'm just gonna add easy ease. I don't think I'm gonna bother with the graph editor. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pre-compose each individual letter. So here we've got the first T, so I'm gonna call this T1. Get the U, U, and we're going to create another one for the last T, T2. And now what we can do is we can start to offset these to create that cool different color effect. So one, let's just do a couple frames ahead. And then we're going to get tint and then drag this onto our adjustment layer. Hopefully this works. I'm going to get blue. There we go, that's the first one. I think I'm going to add 3 colors. So I'm going to go a couple frames ahead again. And we're going to get, let's go with orange. No. I'm not very good with my colors here, am I? I don't know. Green? Maybe not such an extreme green. What did I even do in the intro? Yeah, I had it going into black. I think I'm just going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this one, and then we're going to drag this out to the first one, duplicate it again, drag out the second one. If we click on this one here, and then we go down here, I've copied it, so Control C and then Control V onto this one, and then we're gonna get this green. Control C and Control V. So as we can see, we've got it not working for some reason. Why you no work? It's confusing. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, I'm an idiot. I copied the normal one another 2 times because I don't know why. Don't know how I managed that one. Right, so now it's going to be the U. I'm going to duplicate this 2 frames head. 2 frames head, 2 frames. And then we're going to go ahead and copy this one. I'm going to go ahead and copy this one. And we're going to do the same with this one. So as you can see, this is working out nicely. This is already going over 30 minutes, so I think this is probably where I'm going to stop, because it's most of the effect. So then I'm just going to do the T. Have I not already done T? I'm just going to copy T for the sake of this. It's all gone downhill. So T. I've already done T. I have. So copy this, paste, copy this, and paste. Okay dokie. Get the green again. I think I just copied the whole layer. There we go. That's it. Now if we add the color correction, I think this is too bright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, choose another one of the typography color corrections, like this one actually. Don't really like that pink that I used, but what can you do? Well, I could change it, but well. So as you can see, we've got a pretty nice animation going here. And then what you can do is I time reverse the keyframes at the end, and that was basically it. So leave a like if you want me to do more of these, or if you want me to kind of finish off the end of this, just comment. And remember to do that kind of giveaway thing, so you know, who doesn't like free stuff, and you know, you get more content from me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.